Hello and welcome to another video on my channel. Our worst nightmares might actually be happening. No, Weekend League isn't here yet, it's only Wednesday, don't worry, not that bad. No, EA aren't charging us 150 FIFA points per game. EA, if you're listening, please don't take that idea, but that wouldn't surprise me if that happens one day. But EA, in all their wisdom in Vancouver, are flexing their muscles in the latest patch notes. And I think they're trying to revert FIFA 21 back to FIFA 20. Anyone who remembers FIFA 20, I'll be surprised if you remember it with fondness. For me, FIFA 20 was Sean Dyche football on steroids. Respect to Burnley, Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche has done a fantastic job with Burnley Football Club, considering the limited resources and distinct lack of talent at some of the players there compared to some of the higher clubs. But it doesn't mean I want to play against it on FIFA every game. FIFA 20 was an absolute depravity of a game when it came to just constant drop back. You couldn't get past the AI. It was so boring. I just couldn't be bothered playing the game for the last 2 to 3 months of it. And this is my job. I love streaming to you guys, putting out content every single day on YouTube. But I'm fearful. We're going to have a look at the patch notes. But with the way EA have been taking the patch notes, we're 7th patch of the game and we're only 2 months into the game. A tsunami of defensive adjustments are happening over the last few patch notes. Attacking nerfs. I'm worried, boys. Like I said, a nightmare is upon us. FIFA 20 2.0 might be here. And it is under the guise of FIFA 21. Let's have a quick look at the patch notes. Let's get into it. The holy grail for FIFA fans, the patch notes. The patch notes aren't necessarily the most reliable. They don't always seem to do what they say on the tin in game, but nevertheless, we're going to look at them, see the direction EA are trying to take us. Here they are. You can get access to these. Generally, the quickest way of finding them is following at EA FIFA Direct, every FIFA player's favourite Twitter account. They post the patch notes there first. This one here, I'm not going to go into too great depth on it. If you want full patch breakdowns, then Gamers Class, that I'm a pro player for and help make content for, I do exclusive videos every patch where I look at the patch notes in detail on there and explain them. But to cut a long story, hashtag good FIFA pro. We're not saying story though, we're saying story. To cut a long story short, the game seems to be getting more and more defensive. I'm scared, boys. I'm fearful. Any way of attacking seems to be getting nerfed. I mean, I'm not too upset that the driven cross is getting nerfed because that shit's crazy. It's OP. The running fake shot getting nerfed is not good. They're nerfing lots of attacking options. I don't want a game that turns into everyone just sat back on one depth drop back, counter-attacking at speed. Because the only way to break through people is spam through balls to 99 pace when the AI bugs out. But unfortunately, that seems to be the way the game's going. Last year's FIFA was a very frustrating one to play. Honestly, this one's going that way already. If you play against someone who refuses to dive in, good luck breaking them down. That's all I can say. Biggest tip, like I get a lot of people ask me questions about improving at the game. Number one defensive tip, I do a lot of coaching. And nearly always, the main tip I'll give people is don't dive in. And the reason you don't want to dive in is because if you don't dive in, there's not many ways people can break you down. I'm going to put a game on in the background and we're going to discuss what these patches are doing to the game, the direction this game seems to be going in. The same thing seems to happen at the start of every FIFA. Like every FIFA player seems to have amnesia. They forget how bad previous FIFAs were, and every new FIFA tends to be the worst FIFA. But this isn't what happens at the start. At the start of every new FIFA, it's the best game ever. The first 2 weeks, the funds returned. EA finally got it right. I love this game. But then the old problems start to come back. The servers start to get worse as more people get on. People start to discover bugs, issues with the game. Oh, this is the worst FIFA ever. I'll go back to FIFA 19. I loved El Tornado crosses. Those are the best thing ever. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard anyone quite say that. But this is the type of stuff I'm talking about. People just forget how bad some of the features on previous games were. I'm not telling you that right now. I don't know how that missed, by the way. I'm not telling you that right now. I think this is the worst FIFA ever. But the same things happened every FIFA. The start of the game, it tends to be quite easy to score lots of goals. Like I say, the FIFA community as a collective seems to just have amnesia in September. Don't know. They just forget the last few FIFAs. They forget how to defend. They forget all the habits. And normally the new features, things like the bridge dribble, people start to pick those up and people find it very easy to score. But then, patch after patch, the game seems to get more and more defensive. People start learning, oh yeah, I can go drop back. I can play a bit more negative. I don't need to dive in. And it gets harder and harder to score as the year goes on. And I think people forget this, but people start to get defenders with more pace, get the chem styles on them. Right now, if you have Joe Gomez and Varane, good luck someone breaking you down without getting lucky if you just don't dive in. The problem I have with this current game is that at the start of the game, there was more goals. People aren't diving in as much and have better defenders. Every weekend league, it's as consistent as a McDonald's order. Joe Gomez, Varane, Mendy, Walker or Semedo. It's probably more consistent than a fast food takeaway order. Like every single game in weekend league, that's all I see. I genuinely think I played Varane and Gomez at least 20 out of 30 games on Xbox this weekend. I played 2 weekend leagues this weekend. Man, I was seeing those guys in my sleep. And that ain't a good thing with some of the stuff they do. Like, the way the patches are going, every patch seems to nerf some sort of attacking play. We've had the Elastico nerfed. I feel like pace gets worse as the game goes on. That might just be people get quicker defenders, I don't know. They're nerfing crossing. They're nerfing stepper, or they nerf step overs. They're nerfing the run fake shot. The bridge dribble, my sweet child. You've only got a few weeks left, I can imagine. Like, just as every patch goes on, they seem to be hurting ways of attacking and positive play and buffing defending. Interceptions probably do need buffing. And they said that they were nerfing the AI blocks. I've disagreed with Jumbo on this. I actually think the blocks are slightly better in the sense that they're not quite as OP as they were before that patch. But if being as OP as they were before the patch was a 10 out of 10, and the size of Jupiter, we only reduced to Saturn at a 9.5. Like, the blocks are still ridiculous and still one of the worst things with the game. Shooting, I feel, seems less consistent than it was at the start of the game. Again, I don't know what Vieira's doing there. Again, these issues can be down to a few things. It could be now that more people are playing negative, playing defensive FIFA, got more men behind the ball. When you're shooting now, you get less space. Players are put under a bit more pressure to make worse shots. I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm not playing a negative style of FIFA right now. I'm playing press on heavy touch, 5 depth. But I don't know. If the patches keep going the way they're going, I think we might have FIFA 20 again. The game's already very close to FIFA 20, I feel, right now. I want consistency in FIFA. But I don't want consistency like that where I just don't like the game and it's boring to play. Like I say, last year's FIFA, I've been playing FIFA full time since FIFA 18. I played quite a bit of FIFA 17 when it wasn't my job. And I stopped playing FIFA 20 before I stopped playing FIFA 17. It's my full-time job, and I basically took 2 to 3 months at the end of last year's game to not play anymore. I just hated the game that much. It wasn't that I wasn't decent at the game. I was still hitting top 100s regularly. but the game was just boring. And like a lot of other pros, I am worried about the direction this game's going. I don't really get where EA get their feedback from sometimes. I don't know what drives the patches. I feel like on paper the patches quite often actually do look decent. Like the patch that was supposed to make pressing not as good, that sounded good. But it didn't actually do what it was intended, in my opinion. Constant pressure now drains stamina look mad, it's crazy. But press after possession loss, press after heavy touch. The stamina on them, you can, if you have a good team, it's still so good after 90 minutes. It's not even noticeable, to be honest. Every game now just goes into a formula. You go 1-0 up, you might concede a kickoff. Kickoff's 105th, all those, they're as bad as ever. But you might concede a kickoff, pretty good chance of it. If you don't, you might go 2-0 up. They'll turn on the press. You'll struggle to move anymore. They'll eventually score. They'll probably come back from 2-0. It'll be 2-2, and then good luck to whoever can do something from there, because they'll still have full stamina. The game's just so formulaic. And I'm not sat here, I don't want to whine about the game. I wouldn't do FIFA as a full-time job if I just didn't enjoy it still. Like I said, I love streaming, making content for you guys. I'll always do my best to help you guys improve. But I really hope it doesn't end up being that I'm starting to tell you guys, play drop back, lower your depth. I really don't want that to be the case. But I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not gonna, if the game feels like that's what works best, I'm not going to just lie to you and tell you not to play like that. So I'm worried that that's the direction this game's going. I feel like FIFA 21 is becoming FIFA 20 somewhat, which will be sad. And I feel like this game had promise, but with every patch, that promise seems to disappear a little bit further away, becomes a bit more fainter. A bit like Cyberpunk. That game seemed, the hope of that ever being released seemed to be getting fainter and fainter. But Cyberpunk is being released tonight, so maybe there is hope. If you've stuck around to the end of this video this long, and you're going to be playing Cyberpunk tonight, put Cyberpunk in the comments. I like throwing these in, see if you guys are listening, paying attention. Appreciate you guys who watch my content. I appreciate you guys who support me. I'm just worried and scared about the future of this FIFA. The content's been decent. We've been getting a lot of good players. But at the moment, I just don't know which way they're trying to take the game. Are they just trying to make it a more defensive game to suit casuals so they don't get beat by as many goals and stick around longer? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think FIFA 20 is becoming FIFA 21? No, FIFA 21 becoming FIFA 20. In my opinion, it just seems that way. I hope it isn't, but yeah. I'll come back in a few weeks and maybe reevaluate. I'll talk about the patch after I've played it. Thank you for watching, guys. Peace.